Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real quick. Life ain't complicated. We complicate it. We talk about wanting success, wanting peace, wanting confidence, wanting a better life, but we don't always want to do the work. But today I want to give you on habit, just one, that can change your life in the next 7 days. And that habit is this: start your day with intention. See, most people wake up reacting to noise, to social media, to problems, to stress. But successful people, they wake up directing their day, not dragging themselves through it. Every morning, before you touch your phone, before you let the world in, take 10 minutes to do this. Sit, still breathe. Think about what you want out of your day. Speak gratitude. Visualize where you're going, not where you've been. If you do this for 7 days, your mind shifts, your attitude shifts, your energy shifts. And let me tell you something. When your energy changes, your life changes. You stop living accidentally and start living on purpose. Success doesn't start with money. It doesn't start with opportunities. It doesn't start with luck. It starts with a made-up mind. So over the next 7 days, wake up with intention. No chaos, no panic, no negativity, just purpose. Because once you master your mornings, you master your life. Starting your day before the world starts theirs is one of the most powerful shifts you can make, because it gives you something most people don't even realize they're missing: ownership over your time, your thoughts, and your energy. When you wake up early, before the noise, before the demands, before the world starts pulling at you, something happens internally. You get space, you get clarity, you get control. And for most people, that's exactly what's been missing. Think about how the average person wakes up. The alarm goes off, and instead of rising with intention, they jump straight into stress mode. They rush, they scramble, they check their phone, they absorb other people's problems, messages, notifications, expectations. Before they've even gotten out of bed, they've already surrendered their peace to the world around them. They've lost the morning, which means they've lost their momentum. And when you lose your morning, you spend the rest of the day trying to catch up instead of moving forward with purpose. But when you decide to start your day earlier, before the world asks anything of you, you are no longer reacting. You are creating. You are choosing the tone of your day instead of letting the day choose the tone for you. Waking up early isn't about punishment or hustle culture. It's about carving out a space where you can think clearly without interruption. It's about giving your mind the quiet it needs to reset, refocus, and reconnect with what actually matters to you. In those early minutes, you have the opportunity to set an intention for how you want to feel, how you want to move, and what you want to accomplish. You can breathe, reflect, stretch, journal, pray, meditate, visualize, or simply sit quietly and regroup. What matters isn't the exact routine, it's the ownership. It's the deliberate decision to give yourself the first part of your day rather than letting the world take it from you. When you wake up early, you also discover how powerful your thoughts are when they're not competing with everything else. Ideas come easier, solutions feel clearer, problems seem smaller. You begin to see your life from a higher, calmer, more grounded perspective. You're not rushing, you're not scrambling, you're positioning, and that positioning affects everything you touch that day: your mood, your focus, your attitude, your discipline, your patience, your confidence. There's something deeply empowering about knowing that before anyone else needed you, before any responsibility demanded you, you gave yourself time. Even if it's just 15 or 20 minutes, that uninterrupted space reminds you that your life isn't just a series of tasks. You are allowed to exist, breathe, and direct your path intentionally. And here's the truth: you don't have to wake up 2 hours earlier. You don't need an elaborate, perfect morning routine. You don't need to become someone you're not. All you need is a small window of quiet before the noise begins. Even waking up just 30 minutes before your normal time can create a massive shift in how you feel and how you perform. It's not about the clock. It's about the control. It's about telling yourself, I start my day. My day doesn't start me. Once you experience what it feels like to have that early space, to think clearly, to breathe fully, to move intentionally, you never want to go back to chaos mornings. That simple act of rising before the world can transform your mindset, boost your productivity, strengthen your discipline, and give you a sense of inner power that carries through the rest of your day. It's a small habit with a huge impact, because when you start strong, you stay strong. Practicing gratitude every morning is one of those habits that seems simple on the surface, but its impact goes far deeper than most people realize. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you. It's about shifting your focus from what's missing in your life to what's already present, already working, already supporting you. And when you start your day with that kind of mindset, everything else begins to fall into place in ways that feel almost unbelievable. Most people wake up and immediately think about what they don't have, what they haven't accomplished yet, or what they're afraid of facing. Their first thoughts are often stress, worry, or dissatisfaction. They think about the bills they have to pay, the problems waiting for them, the things they wish were different. And when you start your morning from a place of lack, you carry that energy with you all day long. It affects your decisions, your interactions, your confidence, and even your ability to notice opportunities. You start the day behind mentally and emotionally before you've even stepped out the door. But gratitude flips that energy instantly. Taking a few minutes every morning to acknowledge the good in your life shifts your mindset from pressure to possibility. It reminds you that no matter how stressful things may feel, you still have blessings, resources, people, and moments worth appreciating. You still have things working in your favor. You still have reasons to keep going. When you pause in the morning and say to yourself, I'm grateful for my life, my health, my mind, my chance to try again today, you're planting seeds of optimism before doubt has a chance to take root. You're training your mind to look for what's right instead of what's wrong. And over time, your brain becomes better at recognizing positives even in difficult situations. What once felt heavy starts to feel manageable. What once felt overwhelming starts to feel like a challenge you can handle. Gratitude also helps soften the pressure we put on ourselves. A lot of people wake up feeling like they're behind in life, behind in success, behind in money, behind in dreams. That pressure creates anxiety, and anxiety creates paralysis. But when you take a moment to appreciate where you are and what you've already overcome, you begin to realize that you're not behind, you're growing. You're evolving, you're building. And that awareness brings calmness, confidence, and clarity. Another powerful aspect of morning gratitude is how it shapes your interactions with others. When you start your day acknowledging the good, you're more patient, more compassionate, and more open throughout the day. You respond instead of react. You listen instead of rushing. You appreciate instead of criticizing. Gratitude softens the heart, and a softened heart makes better decisions. It also improves your self-worth. When you focus daily on what you've accomplished, what you've survived, and what you bring to the world, you start to see yourself differently. You realize you are capable, strong, and resilient. You realize you deserve good things. That morning practice builds inner strength without you even noticing at first. And the beautiful part, morning gratitude takes almost no time at all. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, even 30 seconds can set a completely different tone for your day. You can say it out loud, write it down, or simply think it quietly. It doesn't need to be poetic or perfect. It just needs to be honest. The more you practice gratitude, the more you start to notice little things you used to ignore. Sunlight through the window, a comfortable bed, a moment of peace, a small accomplishment, a person who supports you. Life begins to look fuller, richer, brighter, not because your circumstances changed overnight, but because you changed internally. And when that inner shift happens, the outer world begins to respond. Opportunities feel more visible. Solutions feel more accessible. You walk with a lighter spirit, and that energy attracts better outcomes. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel good, it makes you see good, and that alone can transform everything about your day and your life. Visualizing your goals daily is one of the most underrated habits, yet it holds incredible power because it trains your mind to recognize the path you want to take long before you ever step onto it. Most people go through life without a clear destination. They wake up, work, handle responsibilities, repeat the same routines, and hope that one day things will magically fall into place. But hope without vision has no direction. You can't walk into a future you haven't mentally created. Visualization gives your goals a shape, a color, a feeling. It turns your future into something your mind can understand, pursue, and eventually create. When you take time every morning to visualize your goals, even for just a few minutes, you are teaching your brain what to focus on. The human mind is constantly filtering information, deciding what matters and what doesn't based on your thoughts, beliefs, and intentions. If you don't give your mind something meaningful to aim for, it will latch on to whatever is loudest: problems, stress, other people's opinions, old fears, and familiar limitations. But when you visualize your goals, you give your brain a destination, a target, a map. You're saying, this is where I'm going, this is who I'm becoming, this is what matters. Visualization is not daydreaming. Daydreaming is passive. Visualization is active. It's deliberate. It's strategic. It's a form of mental rehearsal that aligns your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with the outcome you want. When you mentally walk through your goals, seeing yourself achieving them, feeling the confidence, experiencing the joy, you activate the same neural pathways that fire when the event actually happens. In other words, your brain starts preparing you to succeed before you physically do. This is why athletes practice visualization. Entrepreneurs use it, creators use it, leaders use it. They understand that if your mind can see it clearly, you're already halfway there. Once your brain believes something is possible, your actions naturally shift to match that belief. You make different choices. You attract different opportunities. You notice possibilities that your old mindset would have ignored. You start moving differently, speaking differently, making decisions from a place of confidence instead of fear. Daily visualization also strengthens your sense of purpose. When you begin your day reminding yourself of what you're working toward, you move with a deeper sense of intention. Your tasks feel meaningful, not random. You stop getting lost in distractions because your mind is anchored to something bigger than the moment. Even setbacks feel less discouraging because you know where you're headed and you know that one bad day doesn't erase a powerful vision. Another important part of visualizing your goals is emotional alignment. It's not just about seeing the goal. It's about feeling it. Feel the excitement of reaching it. Feel the pride. Feel the gratitude. Emotions give your vision energy. They make your goals more than words on a list. They make them vivid, real, and inspiring. When you feel the emotion of success before achieving it, you create internal momentum that pushes you forward. You wake up more motivated. You stay committed longer. You recover from failure faster. Visualization also helps you gain clarity. Sometimes we say we want a better life, more money, more confidence, more happiness, but we don't define what that actually means. Daily visualizing forces you to get specific. What does success look like for you? What does your ideal day look like? What kind of person do you become? What are you building? What are you working toward? When you create that inner picture, you remove confusion and replace it with direction. And the best part, visualization costs nothing. It requires no equipment, no complicated process, no special environment. You can do it sitting on your bed, standing in the shower, sipping your morning coffee, or walking outside. Just close your eyes, breathe, and see the future you're creating. See it clearly. See it boldly. See it consistently. Because the more you visualize your goals, the more your reality begins to rearrange itself to match the pictures in your mind. Your vision becomes your motivator, your compass, and your quiet inner power, guiding you every single day toward the life you want and the person you're meant to become. Speaking positive words over your life is one of the most powerful habits you can build, yet most people underestimate it because they don't realize just how deeply their words shape their reality. The truth is simple. The things you repeatedly say to yourself become the things you eventually believe, and the things you believe become the actions you take, and the actions you take become the life you live. Words are not just sounds. They are seeds. Every day you are planting something in your mind, either strength or doubt, hope or fear, confidence or insecurity. And the harvest you get later is determined by the seeds you speak now. A lot of people speak negatively about themselves without even noticing it. They say things like, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, nothing ever works out for me, or that's just the way my life is. They think these are harmless frustrations, but those words settle into the mind and create a belief system that becomes very hard to escape. When you speak negativity long enough, you start seeing your life through a lens of limitation. You stop trying, you stop believing, you stop expecting anything different. Your words build walls around your potential. But when you intentionally speak positive words over your life every morning, you begin rewriting the script. You challenge the old voice in your head and replace it with something stronger, something empowering, something that supports your growth instead of holding you back. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to talking to yourself with kindness or confidence. But the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Just like a muscle, your mindset strengthens with repetition. Positive words create direction. When you say, I am capable, you start acting like someone who is capable. When you say, I deserve good things, you start moving in ways that align with self-worth. When you say, today is going to be a good day, you begin your morning with expectation instead of dread. When you say, I'm getting better every day, your brain starts looking for evidence to support that truth. You begin to notice your progress instead of fixating on your flaws. And that's the real magic behind speaking positive words. Your mind listens. Whether you're speaking something empowering or something destructive, your mind believes you. It doesn't argue. It doesn't question. It simply absorbs what you tell it and begins molding your behaviors to match. This is why you must be careful with the language you use, especially the language you use about yourself. If you wouldn't say it to someone you love, you shouldn't say it to yourself. Morning is the best time to practice this habit because it sets the foundation for your entire day. When you speak positivity early, you build mental armor against stress and negativity. You give yourself a head start emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Your mind becomes more focused, your mood rises, and your confidence grows before anything or anyone has a chance to pull you off track. This doesn't mean you'll never face challenges. Life will still bring problems, disappointments, and unexpected situations. But when you've strengthened your inner voice with consistent positive words, those challenges no longer break you the way they used to. You handle them with more patience, more clarity, and more resilience. You bounce back faster because your self-talk supports your recovery instead of feeding your fear. Another important truth is this: speaking positive words is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about ignoring your struggles or denying your emotions. It's about choosing to speak from a place of power rather than weakness. It's about acknowledging that even if things aren't perfect yet, you still have control over your mindset, your attitude, and your internal narrative. You still get to decide how you talk about yourself, your goals, and your future. The world can be noisy, critical, and demanding. People will doubt you, misunderstand you, or underestimate you. Life will challenge you. But your voice, your own words, can become your shield, your motivation, and your source of strength. When you speak positively to yourself, you stop waiting for external validation. You create your own. The more consistently you speak positive words, the more you change the way you see yourself. And when you change the way you see yourself, you change what you're willing to do. You try harder. You aim higher. You take more risks. You believe in possibilities you once doubted. Your words carve out space for a better version of you to rise. Every morning, choose to speak life, strength, courage, and hope into your day. Over time, you'll notice that the voice you once used to tear yourself down becomes the voice that carries you forward. And that single inner shift can completely transform the path of your life. Protecting your energy early in the morning is one of the most important things you can do for your mental and emotional well-being, yet it's one of the habits most people ignore. They wake up, grab their phone, and immediately open the door for the world to influence their mood, their thoughts, and their mindset. The moment you check your notifications, messages, emails, or social media, you hand over control of your mind to someone else. You give strangers headline stress and expectations the power to shape your day before you've even had the chance to breathe. And once your energy is disturbed, it becomes much harder to bring yourself back to calm and focus. When you protect your energy early, you are telling yourself that your peace matters. You are telling yourself that your mind deserves quiet before chaos. You are strengthening your sense of identity before anyone else's opinions, demands, or problems enter your space. Those first few minutes of the day set the tone for everything that follows. If you fill them with noise, comparison, urgency, or negativity, your mind begins the day in survival mode. But if you start with presence, peace, and purpose, your mind begins the day in creation mode. The problem with jumping onto your phone right away is that it immediately puts you in reaction mode. Your brain starts reacting to other people's messages, other people's achievements, other people's emergencies, other people's expectations. Suddenly, you're thinking about things that aren't yours to carry. You start your morning feeling behind because someone else is already posting success. You start your morning feeling pressured because someone needs something from you. You start your morning stressed because a negative headline popped up. Your energy becomes scattered before you've even gotten out of bed. Protecting your energy means giving yourself the right to ease into the day before stepping into the world. It means not letting outside noise invade your mind until you are mentally strong enough to handle it. It means choosing yourself first, not out of selfishness, but out of self-preservation. When you give yourself space in the morning, even just 10 minutes, you create a foundation of clarity. Your thoughts feel more organized. You can think about what you want instead of being pulled in different directions. You can breathe and allow your nervous system to settle instead of jumping straight into a state of alertness. This calmness acts as a shield for the rest of the day. You become less reactive, more intentional. Things that normally frustrate you roll off your shoulders. You handle challenges with more patience because you didn't start your morning in chaos. Protecting your energy also helps you build stronger discipline. When you resist the urge to grab your phone, you're not just avoiding distraction. You're training your mind to listen to you instead of craving constant stimulation. You create mental strength by choosing what is good for you over what is easy. This is a quiet form of self-respect that grows with every morning you practice it. Another powerful benefit is that you become more aware of how you actually feel. When you don't immediately drown your mind in noise, you can check in with yourself. You can notice if you're tired, anxious, inspired, overwhelmed, excited, or at peace. This awareness helps you navigate your day with more alignment. Instead of forcing yourself through autopilot, you're able to respond to your emotions in healthy ways. You can make small adjustments early: hydration, stretching, journaling, meditating, moving your body before stress has the chance to multiply. Protecting your energy also makes room for creativity. The quiet of the morning is when your mind is the most open, the most intuitive, the most receptive to new ideas. Many solutions, insights, and breakthroughs come in these early moments if you give yourself the opportunity to listen. But when you fill that space with everything else, you silence the very thoughts that could change your life. Most importantly, protecting your energy early in the day is a form of claiming ownership over your life. It's a message to yourself that you are not available to everything and everyone at all times. It's a boundary that says, before I give my energy to others, I will nourish my own. When you live this way, you become stronger, clearer, and more grounded. You stop allowing the world to dictate your mood. You stop feeling overwhelmed by things that used to drain you. You start moving through your day with confidence, composure, and control. A quiet morning creates a powerful life. And when you learn to protect your energy at the start of each day, you begin to experience the peace, focus, and strength that you've been searching for all along. Repeating a habit for 7 days may sound simple, but what it really does is begin to retrain your mind, your discipline, and your sense of identity. Most people underestimate how quickly life can shift when you commit to a small, intentional practice every single day. They think big change requires big action, but the truth is that transformation begins with consistency, not intensity. The habit doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to be done every day. 7 days may not seem like a long time, but it's long enough to wake up a new part of you that has been quiet for too long. When you commit to doing something daily, even for a short period, you interrupt your old patterns. You break the automatic cycle that keeps you stuck in the same thoughts, the same reactions, and the same routines. Those first 7 days act like a reset button for your mind. You start to prove to yourself that you can show up, that you can follow through, that you can keep a promise to yourself. That alone begins to shift your self-confidence. You no longer see yourself as someone who hopes for change. You start seeing yourself as someone who creates it. Consistency for 7 days also strengthens your belief system. Most people fail not because their goals are too big, but because they don't believe they can keep going. But when you practice a habit daily, you begin to build evidence that you are capable. Every day becomes a small victory. Every repetition becomes a message to your mind. I can do this. I am doing this. And the mind responds to evidence. When you show your brain consistent action, your brain adjusts its identity to match. That's why the 7-day period is so powerful. It's long enough to spark a mental shift, yet short enough that it feels achievable. It removes the pressure of perfection and replaces it with progress. Even if the habit is small, the impact becomes noticeable. You may feel a little more focused, a little more clear, a little more grounded. You begin to sense the change within yourself before the world sees it. Another reason 7 days matter is because repetition builds momentum. Momentum is one of the strongest forces in personal growth. Once you start moving, it becomes easier to keep moving. Your habit becomes part of your rhythm. You wake up thinking about it. You prepare for it without even trying. You look forward to completing it because your mind starts associating the habit with pride and progress. And momentum eliminates one of the biggest obstacles to self-improvement: hesitation. When you hesitate, you allow doubt, fear, and excuses to creep in. But when you repeat a habit daily, there is no room for hesitation. You don't give yourself time to debate whether you feel like doing it. You simply do it because it has become the new normal. That shift from should I to this is what I do is where the power lies. 7 days also reveal your relationship with discipline. Discipline is not about being harsh or strict. It's about choosing what you want most over what you want in the moment. In those 7 days, you get a chance to observe how you respond when you feel tired, distracted, busy, or unmotivated. You learn where your weaknesses are, where your excuses hide, and what triggers pull you off track. With that awareness, you can strengthen yourself intentionally. You become less controlled by your moods and more guided by your decisions. There's also a psychological benefit to completing a 7-day challenge. Your mind loves completion. Finishing something gives you a sense of personal power. It boosts your confidence and reminds you that you are capable of following through. When you finish those 7 days, you don't just feel proud, you feel different. That sense of accomplishment becomes fuel for bigger goals. You start thinking, if I could do it for 7 days, why not 14? Why not 30? Why not a lifetime? Finally, repeating a habit daily for 7 days helps you recognize the early rewards. Even small changes feel meaningful. You begin to think more clearly. You feel a little lighter. You walk with more purpose. You're more aware of your thoughts. You feel more in control of your actions. These early wins are what make people continue. They give you proof that effort pays off, that change is possible, and that you are more powerful than your past limitations. 7 days might seem short, but it's long enough to change your direction, long enough to shift your mindset, long enough to remind you that you can start fresh, build discipline, and become the version of yourself you've always imagined. 1 week of consistency can open the door to a lifetime of growth.